The Seattle Mariners found something during the 2019 trade deadline. With just 1 minute left to go before the deadline, the Mariners traded Mike Leake to the Arizona Diamondbacks. What they got back in return is something that is still affecting the Mariners today, and honestly someone who could be helping the Mariners for the near future. The player they got in return was Jose Caballero, currently playing second base for the Seattle Mariners, but at the time he was just a high A rookie ball level player with not much pop and a decent bat to ball skills, but honestly someone who may or may not work out in the future. So how did this trade come about, and what did the Mariners see in Jose Caballero? First, we got to talk about Mike Leake, because there's a big reason why this trade went through in the first place. For the Mariners, Mike Leake was okay. He had a 101 ERA plus, he had a 4.16 ERA. He was basically an innings eater for the Mariners, making 58 starts in his 3 years with the club. They had acquired Mike Leake at the trade deadline of 2017 when he was coming from the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mariners had just sent some low-A shortstop prospect who really never amounted to much, and it really was a good deal for the Mariners, other than the fact they had to pay a little bit of salary for Mike Leake. With Mike Leake, however, came a full no-trade clause, meaning that he had the right to block any trade to any team he wanted to. But when it came to the Arizona Diamondbacks, that wasn't something that Mike Leake was going to block. Mike Leake was from Arizona, so this was basically a homecoming for him, along with some family trouble that he needed to get taken care of, helping out with a family member who had fallen off of a roof and was paralyzed down in Arizona. Mike Leake really wanted to go home. And for the Mariners, they were in rebuild mode. Obviously, a lot of the big names had already been traded. Mike Leake was one of the few players on the roster still making quite a bit of money, and it was time to let him go. While the Mariners had tried to trade Leake all offseason, nothing had really come to fruition. And then came June of 2019. According to Ryan Divish, the Mariners had already discussed sending Leake to the Arizona Diamondbacks in early June, but at the time, ownership had said no to that deal, talking about the monetary commitments involved with it. In the end, the Mariners sent Mike Leake and $10 million, $5 million for that season's salary and $5 million for his option buyout, to the Arizona Diamondbacks for Jose Caballero. Dipoto said it was finalized with just 68 seconds left before the trade deadline. Talk about going up against the clock. One thing that Mike Leake and Jose Caballero had in common was that they play with a lot of passion. The problem was Mike Leake was kind of a jerk about it. Divish said in his article on the Seattle Times that Leake hated being removed from games prematurely. On one occasion last season, he had handed the ball to Mike Zunino instead of Scott Servais, who came to remove him, which is considered an insult. He just had a temper. Including when they were in Oakland with Scott Servais had already been ejected from the game, Manny Acta came out to remove Mike Leake from the game. On his way out of the game, Mike Leake shoulder bumped Manny Acta as he left the mound. Yeah, that's not gonna flow very well with management. So once it was all said and done, the Mariners ended up with Jose Caballero. As Ryan Divish says here, Jose Caballero, who was turning 23 on August 30th of that year, was hitting .268, .388, .396. He had 12 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBI, 24 walks, and 38 stolen bases in 43 games in high A. And when talking about Caballero, Dipoto had this to say. He had just actually been released to start playing, this after an injury. Oddly enough, he was the guy we were discussing with them in June. We like Caballero, he's an athletic guy, he plays a good shortstop, and he has hit at all the levels to this point. And to Dipoto's credit, yeah, he's right. In the minor leagues in his career, Jose Caballero has a .283, .395, .432 slash line. This guy gets on base at a .395 clip. And we've seen that so far in the major leagues. At .373 for Jose Caballero at the time of recording this video, he's hitting .280 as well. In a year where the Mariners have really been relying on someone like Kolten Wongs to take over that second base mantle, Jose Caballero has been a revelation for this team, because while Kolten Wongs hasn't been doing very well, Jose Caballero has been pretty dang good. And Dipoto even said in an interview that Jose Caballero is going to be getting a little bit more playing time even against right-handed pitching. It's not going to be a strict platoon between Wong and Caballero, as Wong has really struggled and Caballero continues to do something every time out there that makes you say, hey, this guy should be at second base. As for Mike Leake, yeah, he finished that season with the Arizona Diamondbacks and then never threw another pitch in professional baseball. Is Jose Caballero the starting second baseman for the rest of the year? It's tough to say. It very well could be another Sam Haggerty situation where once he starts to play a little bit more, you kind of start to see him get a little overexposed and pitchers start to figure him out. But as of right now, the time of recording this, Jose Caballero, one of the greatest pickups I think we have seen, one of the most under the radar pickups we've seen from Dipoto, and it's worked out really, really well. You may have forgotten about this trade, but we haven't. The numbers, they don't lie. The numbers don't lie one bit. They tell us exactly what's going on with Julio Rodriguez and also what's to come with Julio Rodriguez.